What's up, everyone? Jim and Joshua here to talk about Doctor Strange, which is #1 at the North American box office this weekend, debuting with 85 million, much more than it had been tracking for, bigger than the first Captain America, bigger than the first Thor, bigger than Ant-Man. Now, while no sequel has been officially announced just yet, kind of goes without saying that we're going to get one. So
yeah, Ant-Man did less than that, and it's getting a sequel.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
we're probably going to get Doctor Strange too.
So we're going to talk about what we want to see in a Doctor Strange sequel. Obviously, we're going to talk about some spoilerish things from the first movie, so if you haven't seen it, bookmark this, come back, check it out after you've seen the movie, and let's kick it off. Let's talk about, first of all, let's talk villains. Now, obviously, Baron Mordo, or I guess just Carl Mordo. He's never quite called Baron in this one.
He'll get that title later.
Yeah, you got to earn that one. We see at the very last post-credit scene that he's broken bad, if you will, stealing sorcerer's powers, and he wants them. No more sorcerers. Should he be the main villain in the next one, or should be a surrogate villain to somebody else?
I don't feel like because first of all, he's such a great actor, right?
Yeah.
That you can say his name, I can't. you kind of feel like where he's coming from, right? So I don't feel like he's like 100% evil. I feel like he could sort of lean into that, but then sort of need to work.
Anakin Skywalker.
Maybe he'll see how far he's fallen, what he's done if he teams up with another villain and like helps them unleash their plan upon the world. But at the very end, he like switches to help Strange because they're all friends,
Yeah.
Because he's the one who originally, spotted Strange on the street and brought him in and everything. So I think they could do some cool stuff there. As for who I think Baron Mordo could team up with, I love this new group of villains in the Doctor Strange comic that actually is going on like right now. It's called the Empirical, and they, just like Baron Mordo said in that stinger, they don't want any more magic, and he doesn't want any more sorcerers.
Do you think they're directly hinting at them? Maybe
I don't think so, because it's not one-to-one. They actually worship science and are like technological based and have these like mecha wolves who help them out and stuff.
Do
and
they work
try
at the Genius Bar? Like, I'm just wondering, no?
It actually doesn't. They don't look too dissimilar from Apple products.
Okay,
So they've got like a
interesting.
white base and like black lining and like green green lights. But yeah, so I feel like that would be like a cool thing for them to show up, and he like allies himself with them. But of course, once he helps them snuff out a majority of magic, they'll eventually turn on him, and maybe that will be what turns Baron Mordo back.
Yeah,
I know, that's just some fan fiction I've been writing, in my spare time.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there because, I'm more old school Doctor Strange stuff. I like a lot of those characters that were from the 60s and then a lot of the 70s ones, though. But like just weird ones like Despair and Nightmare is another one, because I like that they can affect Doctor Strange on a psychological and emotional level, where it's great that you have magic, but if your own fears and your own feelings are getting in the way, then that's a hell of a weapon to throw at a hero,
I really like the idea of Nightmare, because it definitely like, instead of going bigger, it goes like deeper and more personal and like gets in his head. And they didn't go too like supernatural in this first movie. There wasn't like that like magical.
It was more cosmic than magical.
Right. But I feel like Nightmare is one that can go and explore things that again aren't like too out there. That it won't, I think Nightmare fits better in the MCU.
Yeah, I think there are other almost Lovecraftian kind of villains and monsters that I would love to see kind of brought in to into a Doctor Strange sequel. Shumagorath. They're basically, these are all
like
just
a squid monster.
Yeah, they're just all really, they'll be really interesting designs, and they're just disgusting looking. Set, Satanish, Null the Living Darkness, now, there's a name. One villain that would be really interesting, but could also work as sort of a pseudo love interest, but at least a female lead, is Lilith, who is this, basically villainous. And we have Cate Blanchett playing Hela in Thor Ragnarok, so it'd be cool to get another, female villain in a Marvel movie. Because as much as I love Rachel McAdams, I feel like you don't really need to bring Christine Palmer back. He's kind of walked away from that past life, so maybe to bring in another female character, a different female lead, if not love interest. So maybe Lilith could be your villain, and then another possibility for the female lead would be Clea, obviously, who I think a lot of us thought would be in the first movie, but yeah.
So yeah, so she's obviously like the long time like Doctor Strange like love interest in the comics, and she's like a magician in her own right.
Ties to Dormammu.
Yes. So she fits in very well, and that's not who Rachel McAdams was. In fact,
Yeah.
we thought she was going to be Night Nurse, but then it looks like Night Nurse is actually, I'm not 100% sure, but pretty sure that's Claire Temple in the what is now the
Christine
Defenders
Palmer's from,
universe,
she was the nurse
the
in the old
Netflix.
Night Nurse comics. But I think it was Linda Carter was the actual Night Nurse character for a while, right? And then, I don't know, now we're going down a Defenders Daredevil rabbit hole. Anyhow, so that'd be interesting to see that character brought in as a new sort of female lead, a new female lead and character. Here's another thing I want to see. I want to see Doc Strange, because I can call him that, and Wong, just kind of hanging out in Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
I want to see more New York.
I love them as a pair. Like they were getting to know each other, and at the end of the movie, finally makes him laugh, right? So now they can be a little more buddy. And what I really like is and of course, in the beginning it started out as an awful stereotype, but then they actually sort of changed it to Wong was Strange's like martial arts trainer, like master, and they very much did that. Wong is his superior in a lot of
like
ways.
A drill sergeant.
Yeah, kind of like the Kilowog.
Yeah.
As I think I heard you say in another.
It was Ahmad, actually.
It was Ahmad.
And
Okay,
it was very much on point with that.
But it would be great to see them have that dynamic, and then like fighting like back to back.
I also kind of want to see them though as almost like in a way like occult buddy cops.
Yeah.
Like, to be like if you're in New York, to be like a Law and Order, but with supernatural stuff. And see these guys kind of going around town. I just want to see Doctor Strange just walking around Greenwich Village like, hey, what's up? I just dressed like this. It's no biggie.
Well, usually he does like the trench coat, right? But then when he's ready to actually fight something, he
I want
like,
to see
morphs.
that too. I want to see the spells cast over the Sanctum Sanctorum, so you can't really see exactly what it's like and all that jazz.
And speaking of that, I want to see them go through more of the Sanctum Sanctorum and like him like kind of move in and make it his own, like his living space, and discover the new secrets and other gadgets. And I love how he picked up that magical artifact, and he's like, you don't know how to use that, do you? He's like, I want him to know how to use it next time.
Well, and that leads into another point of mine. I think it's actually my last point is I want to see him finally become Sorcerer Supreme in this one. It's kind of, I think they did a better job in Doctor Strange than they did in the first two Star Trek reboot movies, but it's kind of like the way Captain Kirk, he has to really earn being Captain of the Enterprise. Like, I feel like they were smart enough to not have him become Sorcerer Supreme after Ancient One dies. You know, I think he would not have earned it, but it'd be great by at least the end of the second movie that he is now the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
And all that.
That makes a lot of sense, because for a second I thought they were going to be like, oh, well, since she's gone and you saved the day, you're the new Sorcerer Supreme. Like, whoa. Like, that would have been way too much for the first movie. But I think by the end of the second one, if you really put him through the ringer and show how much he's...
orange gloves on now, too, so you know
what's that about?
Business, you know? I also think it would be interesting to see, you know, if you're going to go towards the Sorcerer Supreme route, do you think we might finally see the Illuminati at some point?
Oh, wow. I hope so. Because by then, let's see, we'll have gotten an Inhumans movie, so Black Bolt will be there. Doctor Strange will have met Tony Stark, who's also in the Illuminati in the Avengers movies. Because we know Doctor Strange is going to be in at least Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah.
We're assuming the other one, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they'll be like part of that circle there. Of course, like, Professor X isn't going to be a part of it.
Wrong Marvel verse.
Yeah, but they could have their own
now,
Illuminati.
The Inhumans movie, I do want to point out, is it's a possible phase for it. It is not set in stone.
That is true.
But you could conceivably maybe introduce Black Bolt in something like this, and then see if it plays with an Inhumans movie.
I was just, because I actually, for a while we thought actually Inhumans was off the table, but recently Kevin Feige did say, like, no, we're still planning on making that.
Maybe
so I guess,
for phase 4,
So I was including it in my list of Illuminati.
On his
but
mental list.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see just how far you can go with Doctor Strange. Is he going to end up kind of being the new Tony Stark for the MCU and the rest of Phase 3 and into Phase 4? But so that's kind of, you have any other things you would like to see?
That's
in the Doctor
enough,
Strange
man. That's a
sequel?
lot. They got a lot to do in the sequel.
You guys
Get
got
to
your
work.
work cut out. All right. So one day soon, I'm sure we'll find out that there really is going to be a Doctor Strange sequel. But if and when it happens, this is what we want to see in it. Let us know in the comments what you want to see in the Doctor Strange sequel. And for all things MCU, Marvel, Doctor Strange, all that jazz, keep it here on IGN.